Hello, bloggers and friends, and welcome to Taste Live's Cafe 140, the interactive webcast with taste. We are here live at Heritage Public House and the Wine Yard in Santa Rosa, California, which is in beautiful Sonoma County. I'm here today with guest winemaker Patrick Kreutz, our special guest, Chef John Lyle.
Hello.
And musical guest John Pita. Now, we are getting ready to taste the Kreutz Family Cellars 2009 Atkins Vineyard Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley in Mendocino.
Akins.
Akins.
But that's no problem.
Akins, sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
The Akins. But, even better yet, we have the beautiful Katie. Katie with Chef John Lyle's
All right.
beautiful, oh, look at this, his grilled endive and serrano ham pairing with this beautiful Pinot Noir. So, Patrick, let's just jump right into this.
Okay.
Tell us why you like to make Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley in Mendocino County.
Well, Anderson Valley is, you know, if you've never been there, it's one of the kind of last frontiers almost in Northern California. You drive down to the coast on 128, and you really feel like, okay, no use in picking up the cell phone because you've got no coverage, and it's just kind of a you take a step back and you just kind of relax. I mean, everybody there in Anderson Valley is just kind of down to earth. It almost reminds me of back home in a way, just out in the country. It's just beautiful everywhere you look around. Ever since Dylan and Toby Sheldon of Sheldon Wines, who are my colleagues here at Santa Rosa Vintner Square, you know, they took me there for the first time, and it was just kind of magical ever since. So it was certainly something that as well as the, you know, with the cool you know, coastal influence of cool nights and cooler days. It's a very cool, it's commercially zoned #1 growing conditions and area as an appellation. So it's very cool, and it's just perfect growing conditions for Pinot Noir. Although 2009, this particular vintage was kind of an outlier for Anderson Valley. It was a little bit more medium plus to heavy, as you know, on scale for Anderson Valley, and it was certainly, you know, it's nice and ripe. It's beautiful. It's full Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley, and it's kind of just like take what nature gives you that particular year, and that's the life of a micro nano winery winemaker.
Yeah, and drink what you like. To right to that point, says inviting note, says drink me, and Dadgone one, what a nose, dark cherry, cinnamon, spice, and clove. But what I'd like to get to is Chef John, tell us a little bit. I just took a bite of this grilled endive and serrano ham. This is nothing like I've ever really tasted. And then I had a sip, and the wine just went to this other place. So tell us about your inspiration for this pairing.
You know, the inspiration for this pairing, this wine is so exceptional. I needed something that would just give it a little bit of support. I didn't want to bowl over it. At first, when they talked about the nose of the cherry and the cinnamon, it's exactly what this has. That I almost began to pair it with cherries. But you know what? I don't think we would have been able to get the entire stretch of the flavor and the taste. So by putting a grilled endive with a little tiny bit of a triple cream cheese inside of it, and then rolled it in some serrano ham, and then grilled it off really quickly, leaving it completely by itself. And then just dressing it with a little olive oil and a tiny amount of sherry vinegar. That's really all this is. Because when putting together with this wine, you don't want to put anything with it that's going to distract from it. And I think they work really nicely together.
Chef, that's beautiful. Maybe you could take that plate and turn it around a little bit for the camera, and let Scott take a nice close shot of that. You want to talk, yes, the wine's exceptional, this dish is exceptional, and the pairing is exceptional.
It really
Beautiful
works. Really works.
Well, it's simple, and it, you know, wine and food pairings together, you rarely, well, you find that some of the most simple expressions that can play off of one or two components of the wine and enhance that one and two components, that's sometimes and often works the best. To me, the fatty quality of the meat there just plays to the smokiness of the Francois Frere barrels that I use in the cooperage program of this particular wine. I used about 40% new French oak. All of that 40%, all were Francois Frere, medium plus toast. And so it was aged for about 14 months. It's unfiltered. And, it has that kind of bacon fatty quality to it. And a lot of people are starting to use that as a, kind of a throw out language. But it really does. And you can really get that with this particular pairing.
And it's bacon without the fat. So we got some comments coming in. Cellar Mistress, now that's a Pinot. Straightforward. Dan Godwin, top shelf Pinot.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody's getting it. This Aikens.
Yeah, it's a single vineyard that if you drive on 128 heading west towards the coast, you drive through Navarro, and then you drive through Philo. Of course, you pass in Boonville, Anderson Brewing Company. So you're headed to the west, and it's right past Handley Cellars, and it's on the right side. It's not too elevated, but it's 3 different clones of Pinot Noir: All de Jean, 667, 115, and 777. Fairly about 1/3 each clone. And so it's very fruit forward. It's that Dijon kind of quality where you get some earth, you get some plum, you get some forward bright cherry, but even for its ripeness, there's still acidity there. It's still maintaining that snappy profile that some Pinots that you get that ripeness out of, and they lose that particular component that pairs well with dishes like this.
Right, and wine review is piping in Cherry's Jubilee Dark Tea Spice. Thanks, wine review. And that's we've talked about this before. Anderson Valley, one of their notes that you find on Pinot out of that region is that dark tea. And I know I'm a fan of it, and I'm sure, John, you picked up on that.
The tannin flavors are some of my favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I know that, Patrick, that's one of the things you love about Anderson Valley is getting that dark tea out of your Pinot Noir.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, it's not only right on, but when back when Dylan Schill and I were walking Pinot vineyards and here in Russian River Valley, it was that tea quality that we were particularly looking for in our vineyard selections when we were just starting to make Pinot Noir back in 2004. And so you look for it in the skins, you look for it in the actual pumice, in the pulp of the grapes as well. So when you're out walking vineyards that are potential candidates to start sourcing from, that was actually one of the components that we were looking for and that I was looking for in Anderson Valley. And so it's your job as a winemaker to not only retain that quality, but to bring it out when it's bottle ready, and certainly when you're having it with a fantastic pairing like this.
Well, it looks like you put Katie back in her seat a little bit. She says it's a little intense for me. I like them lighter in the loafers. Wine review: nice long finish and not overpowering. So, wine review, and Katie, go at it.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a medium plus to heavier styled Pinot Noir, especially when you're comparing it to other Anderson Valley Pinots. So, as compared to my prior vintages where the 2006 and 2007 were more 13.8 alcohol, 14.4 in that range, this is a little bit heavier at 14.8, 14.9. But, again, it's like, what do you do as a nano winemaker, nano winery, or micro winery? You give what you get that year, and you make the best of it. And that's what, when I have my own wines in a vertical, and if I were to have them blindfolded and they were brown bagged or whatever, you like to be taken to the particular vintage where you pour a glass and you're like, that reminds me of 2009. That reminds me of 2008, where it was a smokier, where it was a little bit smokier. You like that differentiation in particular vintages. So that's what we strive ourselves on, is really making a wine from that vintage and expressing it in a balanced and honest way from that year.
Well, beautiful. John, any other thoughts that you have on this wine and other things that what other things would you love to eat with this or prepare to serve? Because chefs love to share.
You know, one thing that would, and I mentioned cherries earlier, you know, you could really do this same salad, but cut up a bunch of cherries, pit cherries, and cut them up with them. It would be beautiful with also not only the dark cherry, but the Rainier cherry, or even a sour cherry. There is, gosh, you know, this wine is so good, it's hard to find things that it probably will go with everything except for an artichoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a beautiful wine.
Yeah. So gorgeous. Cellar Mistress. Oh, here we go. How many cases?
Cellar Mistress. We produced about 400 cases of this wine. So it was one of the more, it was actually sourced about 2/3 of the vineyard. And in that year, he had the other third of the contract, or of the vineyard contracted. However, somebody kind of walked at the last time, or at the last minute. And so the owner, Carl Akins, came to me. He said, "Patrick, I love your wines that you've made from my vineyard in the past. Would you be interested in taking, assuming the last third of the vineyard and essentially trading me out in wine?" And so, of course, you know, can't say no to a proposition like that. So I took the entire vintage or the vineyard, and this is the first time the 2009 is the first 100% Akins vineyard designate that I've made. And in 2006 and 2007, I did a blend of 2 different vineyards. So it was pretty cool and educational to actually blend the whole vineyard as a composite and, you know, see what it does.
All right, some of our bloggers are asking, they want to know, what is the retail price on this fine bottle of wine?
Frontline retail value is $38 a bottle, and if it's not in your market, which I'm not in many markets because of the production, you can order it online at my website, KrutzFamilyCellars.com.
Yeah, so please share that link with the folks out there, so all the bloggers can share it with their fans. And wow, this has been absolutely delicious. I've never had this the Serrano ham. What do you do to prepare the Serrano ham? What's up with this?
You know, we're really lucky. The Serrano ham is an aged unsmoked ham. It comes pretty much like it's a long ham. It's more like a prosciutto or something like that. And it really is. It's a beautifully aged ham that with absolutely no smoke on it whatsoever. And it just gives a nice salinity to it, and it really carries the taste of the Pinot beautifully.
It really does.
You know, this Pinot can actually stand up well to beef or any of that beautifully.
Yeah. Well, the Serrano ham is a little bit of I don't recall having it before. And, man, it is so delicious, and it's so perfect with this. I think we already covered. We got a question on the alcohol percentage on this. I think Patrick just covered that, but we can cover it again. It was a little riper year.
Yeah, it was a little bit riper year. It's about 14.8, 14.9, 14.8.5, I believe. So it's, you know, it's on the riper side, but it still maintains that balance, and it still maintains, you know, that particular, you know, just that subtlety of, hey, I'm ripe, but I'm going to rock your taste buds and you know, bring some fruit and everything at the same time.
Yeah, well, this is every time, because again, it's different than your past vintages for me, and I'm a little like Katie, where I like my Pinot's a little lighter and everything, but you know, I think that this wine is just beautifully balanced, and the 14.8, I'm really just not getting that. You know, it's not, because it's so balanced. So I'm just loving it. And again, for me, that tea quality, that black tea quality in Pinot is something that I absolutely love. that balances with the fruit and all that. So, huge fan, big time. Awesome. Any other last thoughts, Patrick, that you'd like to share about your Pinot?
Yeah, I think that I'm pretty sure about covered it. It's it's ready to go.
It's ready to go. You heard it here. Excuse me. Anyway, I am Joel Quigley with Taste Live's Cafe 140. We are here live from Heritage Public House in the Wine Yard in Santa Rosa, California, beautiful Sonoma County. Thanks for tuning in, and cheers to winemaker Patrick Kreutz and chef John Lyle. Cheers.